All right, in this video, we're going to be going over 4 things that I think will be really helpful as you study piano and music. It's kind of an order of operations about, when you want to learn a song, like what you want to focus on step by step. And it's going to be the case that, yes, everything's kind of happening at once. It's an integrated process, but these are just steps that I think are what you want to focus on from beginning, and as you go down and as you learn your song, this is the order that I would do for when you're learning new pieces. So number one is knowing your notes, and yes, I know that seems like no duh common sense, but you'd be surprised how many students don't know their notes. Really just get that in, knowing your notes, your line notes, your space notes. Some students still, they forget that space notes hold values, that they have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that they hold those letters within their spaces. So make sure you really know your notes. And also with that, your intervals, like your seconds, like just looking at your sheet music, being able to recognize, oh, this is a second, this is a third, this is a fifth. I would say those three particular those are going to really help you a lot in music. If you can recognize a second, a third, and a fifth, because so much of just your beginning chords are within that range. And those are really easy to spot because a third is either a space to a space or a line to a line, and then a fifth is just a first note line, hop over, then your next line is going to be a fifth. Those are just easy to recognize. Seconds are easy to recognize, but you'd be surprised how I've seen so many students struggle with, they know the bottom note, but then they just can't figure out that next note, and it's like they're touching each other. So really know your notes, and leading into that is chords, okay? And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because one student that I had who's really great, really hungry, he thinks if he just knows the notes and can kind of play the song, like then he knows the song and we need to move on. But that is not the case. Yes, you need to know your notes, and that's a good thing, but there's so much more to music and learning a piece. It's not just learning your notes and we get to move on. So that's why I'm actually doing this video. So next is chords, being able to recognize chords. And so with knowing the notes and then the intervals, that leads into knowing what your chords are. So being able to recognize triad chords, because it's just going to be line to a line to a line that make up that triad chord, or a space, space, space. And then also learning the primary chords, because that's what you're first learning in music, is these essential chords that build a song. So really get those 2 things down. Okay, so we've talked about notes as number 1, chords as number 2, number 3 in the order of operation of what you want to focus on in music and in songs and in practicing as you're going through a piece is your timing, your rhythm, and within that is your note values. So make sure you know your note values, because that's just really well integrated into the rhythm. And so practice those slowly. And yes, again, I said earlier in the video that this is an integrated process. You should be learning the rhythm as well as when you're doing your notes and everything. But again, order of operations, I would say get the notes down, get the chords down, and then start looking into rhythm and your count. A lot of students don't count out loud. I know that sucks. I resisted it for a long time, but once you start counting, it starts clicking and everything gets easier. So really get those note values down, and then your rhythm. And then after you slowly get this rhythm down, start speeding it up. A lot of students do a 1 speed. They just like to either get those students that are like to just stay slow when they're practicing, or right away they just go fast all the time, and then you need to tell them to slow down because they're just sounding really messy. So for this process, yes, you're going to want to take this slow with your note values, your rhythm, but once you get those 2 things down, start paying attention to your tempo markings in your sheet music. Is this section fast? Is this slow? So that way you can practice those things as well. And then the last thing you want to focus on is sound. And that's kind of that's what we're going for with everything that we're learning with notes, with chords and timing. We're learning to get the sound of the song. So, but with that is your volume. So pay attention to those dynamic signs like your piano, your forte, your mezzo piano. pay attention to all of those. And yes, you can pay attention to those again. Like I said, this is all, we're putting this all together. You can pay attention to those from the beginning, but in the end, when you're getting everything dialed in, this is the last thing that you still want to be focusing on, is going back through everything and you're like, hey, how does everything sound? How am I playing this? We got our notes down, we got our chords down, we got our rhythm down, and then now you can really hone in on what does this all sound like. So pay attention to those dynamic signs, and again, your touch, your phrasing, your legato, staccato is what you're playing. Are those markings in there? Is this portato? And so you can do so much with touch, and that's just going to really help with getting that sound out that you want. And for a bonus, I mean, the last thing to really help with your playing, I think these last two things is number one, metronome. So that's why I said know your notes, know your chords, because in the end, can you play everything with the metronome? That's really going to help everything get dialed in and everything click and come together. But then one more thing you could do that the metronome won't show you is, because we're just focusing on timing and our tempo with metronome, is then recording yourself. So that's really going to bring everything together, is when you can hear yourself back, because not only are you hearing your timing, you're also hearing your sound. So being able to record yourself, you know, I'm a recording artist, so oftentimes numerous times I've listened to my recordings and I was like, wow, I didn't know I was playing that section like that. I didn't know I was hitting that note like that. I think that's too loud for that section, or hey, I think that's too soft. So be aware of those things, and I think these last two things would be like the most important for just getting your piece dialed in. Okay, so that is the order of operations I use when I'm practicing and with my students as well. Hope you found this video helpful. If you got value out of this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. It means a lot, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a blessed day.